I think you just hit on why influencer marketing is fairly challenging. You got I don't know times I don't know equals I'm not sure what. Welcome again to Mobile Heroes Uncensored Origin Stories. This is, as we said last time, a new sub series for Mobile Heroes Uncensored. We're doing deeper dives with individual mobile heroes one on one. It's actually not really one on one, is it, Peggy? It's kind of two on one. We're ganging up, aren't we? We are bullies. It is true. Sorry about that. We did say before, and we'll say again, all superheroes have origin stories, so mobile heroes kind of need them too. Peggy, which hero are we talking to today?
Well, we're talking to Alexander Ruban. He started out as many heroes, avid games fan, right? Turned games tester, turned from QA to UA. And he did this for a while. He did Pixonic and then Wargaming before becoming a CMO at a gaming startup. Now, user acquisition lead at Product Madness.
Wow, nice,
Yeah.
nice math. And I have a question later about that name, Product Madness, because it screws me up every single time I hear it. But we'll leave that for a little bit here. Let's start here. What path led you to mobile marketing, Alexander?
Well, I don't know where to start here because I was a gamer since I was 5 years old. My parents brought me a game console on my birthday, and it turns out it was a Russian clone of Nintendo NES console. So I started playing games. I played a lot of stuff when I was a child. Then I got my first PC when I was 8. Started playing uh, shooter games, strategy games, quests, a lot of stuff. And I continued this with while I was in the university. And actually, I was looking for a job to have some money when I was a student, and I found a role in a gaming company, which literally said that you are playing games and you will get paid for that. And I thought, well, easy choice, easy way to do something, and yeah, they hired me as a game tester. So I literally played games and got paid for that.
What is your
So
favorite part of the job that you do?
the favorite part is, well, it's working with people, it's working with a very nice community in our industry because I feel like I'm in the space with open-minded and like-minded people. So I can talk about games, I can talk about other things, and we have a good connection. In terms of like really work-related stuff, I believe being in marketing and advertising, you are able to receive very detailed and quick feedback regarding your job. So you launch the campaign, you spend $100, and after some time, you see the results. It's pretty quick, and you can always like see what's going on the top of your fingers.
Nice.
Great segue, because you said you love working with people and you like the community. You have a passion, rare passion, I have to say, for influencer marketing. It goes way back before it was cool, actually, and fills a two-part blog series on your dedicated heroes page. That is a long article. It's full of a lot of things, but it starts with the question, whether or not do you use an agency? Now, you detail that in the blog, but tell us how you make that call.
Well, when we first started in 2016, I suppose it was a pretty like it wasn't the mature market, and we thought, okay, we're starting the new thing. No one really mastered that before, so we need to we had to follow our standard logic. Like, if you don't know information about this stuff, you try to find some examples. You try to find the people who have some experience with that, ask you some advices. And we quickly figured out it would be too hard for a small team with like 1 or 2 and 3 people to manage all this stuff. For example, you need to have a contract with each individual, which if with every influencer individually to pay them money to make the campaign. and it's it, in the beginning it seemed better to allocate this like managing part to the agency, gather some experience with agents, ask them about previous campaigns with their previous clients, show us some best practices. So I think it's pretty much standard logic in the beginning, and we started to see how it will to give it a chance and see how it will go. And we were happy with this selection, and I feel like right now, if you don't have a team or like with agency sized team, the big team to manage everything, so it would be so hard for a small number of people to complete all of this job.
So really, it's down to size. You're saying, small company, small team, then you definitely want to be working with an agency. It's just a lot of heavy lifting that you want to spare yourself. And once you make that decision, then you have to get down to making the creative brief for the influencer. And it's not an easy choice. It's got to be the right brief for the right game or the right title. A lot of decisions to make. What are some tips that you can offer?
Well, a lot of channels got their own like personal approach to advertising. It's always good to spot to see this style of advertising for the channel, and also have some strict points in your brief. For example, strict CTA. So you are creating some rules, some things you want them to do, but don't have our goal was not to be too much in details, So they have to like figure out themselves what to present. However, the points like call to action, welcome speech, or the way they introduce our games. If we think it's critical, it should be in the brief and it should be followed.
Mhm. So some things that you follow as a rule of thumb, and some things you just let the influencer just take it, own it, go with it. I mean, one of these has to be super cool. Is Crip? That is a cool campaign. Tell me about that. How'd you find him? What was the campaign? You seem to have led him on a long leash here. I have to say. What was the result that you got?
Well, when I joined Planet Madness, there was already Influencer Initiative, and our manager, together with agency, they discovered this talent and this particular channel. So this is an example of personal approach. This very amazing influencer put in so much effort in advertising, and it makes the ad cool and engaging. Um, but the thing is, it's so rare on the market. So if you want to have a general and scalable campaigns, it would be so hard to find like 20 crypts within a month. I mean, 2020 was just like that within a month. And he followed the brief, but he twisted every blue point in his own way.
Nice. Nice.
Indeed.
As long as that works, you're super happy with that, right? As long as that goes according to your brand guidelines to some degree, you want somebody to make it their own. You want somebody to personalize it to their channel, to personalize it to their audience and their fans, because it's going to make it real instead of just like, we interrupt this for for a commercial message, right? So getting results obviously is the business here. It's the challenge. It starts with setting really good targets. Apparently you have a formula for this. What is it?
Well, the formula is like, imagine you're launching a campaign on Facebook. The algorithm knows nothing about your game, about your like everything. So it's pretty much the same with influencer marketing, but in that case, you are the algorithm. So you're making your estimations. While like a lot of algorithms in traditional user acquisition, they have probability of, so they have some kind of probability for the users that they would install the game, and they're trying to push users that most likely install our game to your campaign. With influencer marketing, the formula would, it's more of a process rather than formula. So you have to estimate the number of views that you will achieve. You need to estimate your marketing conversion, like creative conversion. You need to multiply your marketing conversion to the number of views, like estimated marketing conversion multiplying to estimated number of views. Then you will have estimated number of installs. You already know costs, so you can calculate estimated CPI that you probably can get. And after, like, it's a long process, it's a long journey. After some iterations, you will find what would be the average conversion for specific categories, for specific channels, specific types of integration. It requires a lot of analysis, patience, and money, of course, because it's expensive to get this data.
I think you just hit on why influencer marketing is fairly challenging. You got I don't know times I don't know equals I'm not sure what. We'll see what comes out the back end.
That
You
whiteboard
right,
that'll
good
get into
things
this.
do happen, and that's a wonderful thing. Absolutely. Now you've experimented a lot. You've spent a lot of money. You've experimented with channels. What channels are delivering the best results for you, and how's that changing over time?
It was a big surprise for me to know that channels with contents like vehicles, motorcycles performed best in different genres we tested.
Hmm.
So the simplest assumption is if you have money to buy a car or motorcycle, you probably got money to pay for mobile games. That's it. I think it's like a simplest explanation, but I assume there will be more of it.
Nice.
I'm just trying to imagine in my mind though the whiteboard for that formula, it's uh it's massive. A lot of things you can't possibly measure or predict, but you have had and reported some pretty impressive results, I have to say. You also list those in your blog post as well, so it's all there. But it's tough to judge performance, right?
Yep.
And you I'd like to understand how you do this. And another thing is that you just say, "Hey, don't just do it in sort of a vacuum or do it in one case scenario. You have to really launch multiple influencers per category. It just seems like a lot to monitor, measure, handle. Tell me about that formula in understanding what the results are.
Okay. So just having the thought in my mind, like regarding the most performing channels. So weaker channels might not work for, like, I don't know, casual games. For each games, it's like there is something that performs best. But in order to find what performs best, as you said, it requires a lot of monitoring, a lot of measures. And it's better to segment the inventory, segment the types of influencers, their genres, to like different categories. So, for example, you have a vehicle category with that influencers talking about different cars. There is another category like entertainment, which contains different categories, subcategories like pranks, humor, reactions, like movies and other things. And it's like the whole process is the mix of analytical knowledge, passion, and sorry, not the passion. Of passion, of course. Let me
Yes.
see. It's a mixture. It's a mixture of analytics,
And the art?
art, patience, and understanding the results. And when the biggest issue with influencer marketing at the moment, we're not able to attribute all installs correctly because we're putting tracking links into description for YouTube video. But there are people who watch videos from desktop, from TV, from other devices. So in that case, we some people they just they're looking at the ads and they if they're watching this on TV and they get in their phone, going to a store and trying to find the game. So will be attributed as organic. In order to track those users, we the one way is to launch a massive influencer campaign. So you will see the spike in organic uplift. So you could attribute those users to your campaign, but it's in between in traditional UA and branding. So there are other benefits. It's hard to detect. Sometimes it's hard to measure, and the benefits like improve the overall conversion rates in creatives, improve the brand awareness, which will lead to different growth. So, yeah.
I love it, Alexander, because you're absolutely right. There's some things that you can measure 100%, but we are moving more and more into an era when we will not be able to measure everything 100%. There's privacy, there's aggregation of data, there's other things going on, and there's cross-platform stuff, right? Maybe you could send them to a web landing page, and maybe they prefer to go straight to the App Store or to Google Play, right? So, you can't always count on that either, but you can see uplift and you can see increase in organic, and it's a little tenuous, but you can connect those threads with the activity that you're putting in, and you need a little bit of faith sometimes.
But the tip will be to squeeze the whole campaign and launch this campaign within a couple of days.
Yes.
So it will create it will be easier to detect this uplift, and it also creates the cumulative effect.
Yes.
Mhm.
Nice. I have a question, and it's a bit of a silly question, so bear with me for half a second. Your company is Product Madness. And honestly, Peggy and I do this with all our guests, especially on the full Mobile Heroes Uncensored. We ask, what's the most obvious thing about mobile marketing that you didn't know until like recently? Or, what's your biggest fail in marketing? Here's my true confession about one of my like Product Madness. For years, when I heard that name, I thought must be retail. They must sell some stuff. What do they do? So I have to ask, where did that name come from?
Well, we are mad about games and the way we bring people together, and the passion and culture is what holds us together as a studio.
It's a tribe, John. You're hearing it.
I guess so. I guess
Yeah.
so. Now I get it. Now I get it. Now I've bared my soul to you, Peggy and Alexander.
Well, we talked about fails and things, and he has to bear his soul now too, right? So, John told us what he was thinking. Is there something that you can share? Maybe something where, boy, I wish I knew that earlier, or earlier in my career, or wow, that was a close one. That was a marketing nightmare that I just escaped. What would you pick out as your pick?
Hmm, that's a cool question. Well, in terms of fails, when sometimes it's so hard to understand where you need to stop. Like when you need to pause the campaign, when you need to pause your tests, when you need to pose some kind of hypothesis. But another thing is to stop your current activity and understand what you need to do next. So I was in a rush sometime. I was in a long rush. So I didn't have a chance to slow down and think about am I going the right way at the moment? So I didn't. And eventually I think I got burned.
That reminds me, actually, patience is also a good virtue for performance marketers and user acquisition leads, because sometimes the industry's not full of it. Let's just be honest. And people are tempted to make continual changes. And guess what? You can't compare campaigns. You just change everything all the time because it's a different campaign with different targeting, with different creative, and all that stuff. So very interesting stuff. Thank you, Alexander.
Thank you for the opportunity, and yeah, see you someday.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alexander, as well. You didn't get burned here. We just had a little fun. And it was pretty to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Peggy. Thank you, John.
And of course, hey, you were our mobile hero today on Origin Story. And anyone else, hey, if you are a mobile hero or if you'd like to be one, you'd like to nominate yourself, which you can, or someone you know to be the next mobile hero, then you simply have to fill out your details in a simple form and we'll show you how to do that. And if you want to get in touch with us, we might figure out something as well, get you on the show. You can find John and myself on LinkedIn, on Twitter. We're there 24/7, right, John?
24/7. I'm not, but hey, if you're committing to that right now, awesome. I love that.
Yeah, keep it on the record. You would.
It is on the record. We have video. Peggy 24/7 on LinkedIn and Twitter. So that's where you get a hold of her. No worries. Hey, this has been Mobile Heroes Uncensored Origin Stories with our hero, our superhero, Alexander Ruban from Product Madness, which I learned today is not a retail company. Thank you so much, Alexander, and have a wonderful day.